This is the Ballroom State of Mind podcast, episode 114, Inner Work and Outer Work. Welcome to the podcast. It's been a minute. I've been busy. I've been working more. I've been helping my husband in his business more. And another friend of mine that owns a business, I've been helping her. And so I have been busier. My time's been a little bit limited, but I'm not going anywhere. So don't start that rumor. I'm still here. I'm still podcasting. I'm still coaching. I'm still your mindset coach for you dancers and others who listen. I was thinking about this because I think I did my first podcast ever in 2021. So it's been a few years, and it's been a while since I looked for any other podcast episodes, like podcasts in general that are like ballroom podcasts, but I don't know if any of them have 114 episodes. So I think I was entitled to a little bit of a break. But I have another podcast for you today. I already have an idea about the next one. And we got Ohio Star Ball coming up. We got holiday coming up. So there's still competitions going on, and you guys still need some work. So you need some help, and I'm here. So let's get to the podcast today. What I want to talk about is inner work and outer work. Have you ever wondered why, despite your best efforts and your hard work, some improvements just don't seem to stick? Or maybe you know what you need to do differently and how differently you want to show up in the world, but you just can't seem to get yourself to do it. Something's holding you back, or it just seems too far out of reach. You might even be thinking something like, maybe I'll never figure out how to stop overthinking. Maybe I'm always going to struggle to show emotion or feel feminine or sensual, or maybe I'll never be a strong lead because I just don't know if I have what it takes. And we have these kinds of thoughts that are kind of getting in the way of who we want to become. And sometimes it seems like there's an unseen force that prevents you from becoming the dancer that you want to become, or even from becoming the human being that you want to become. And I did in an earlier episode talk about resistance, and that resistance does exist, like this force that's going to kind of hold us back. And I think that for all the change that we want to make and all the growth that we want to accomplish, in some ways, there's still a little part of us that doesn't want to do anything new. It doesn't want to change what we're doing. There's a certain amount of safety in what's familiar and what we've done to get here. We're comfortable with who we are, even if we know that it might not be serving us as well as it could. We know it could be better for us to be different. If we could be more confident, we could be less inhibited. We could be more free. We could make better choices, or eat better, or manage our money better. Finally release those toxic relationships. Like, why am I still seeing that person? Why have I not broken up with them finally? Or why do I keep going back? But sometimes it just feels hard to overcome this kind of unseen force. Now, as I've worked with many dance clients and also general life coaching clients, I've seen a bit of a pattern emerge. Often when we want to change, we focus on the actions. We focus on the mechanics, the things that we do. We focus on behaviors. These are the outward things that we can see. And I want to call this work outer work. And it's very important work. As dancers, it looks like practicing more. It's getting more coaching. It's technical things, so many technical things. We have no shortage of actions in dancing, okay? We practice facial expressions. We try to choreograph some emotion into our dancing. We do more performances to try to give ourselves some amount of exposure therapy to just get past things by simply doing more of it. We apply techniques like affirmations or visualization, and all of that helps. There's nothing wrong with that. It's important work. But I've also seen how hard that can be when we neglect the inner work that is creating a lot of the resistance to what we're trying to create. So if that's the outer work, the inner work consists of really three things. Mindset work, which is thoughts and beliefs. Okay. It's emotional work, emotional management, being in touch with and comfortable with your emotions, understanding what emotions mean, welcoming them. And third, I would say, is nervous system stuff. Let's just call it nervous system regulation, nervous system management. It's creating safety in what we're doing. Okay. We need to soothe ourselves as we do new and hard things. So the inner work is what I do with you guys. You got no shortage of teachers and coaches who can tell you all of the outer work. But the work that I do with you is the inner work. Okay. Now the outer work is so attractive because it feels strong and it feels like action and it's very tangible. Like you could check it. You could like check mark it, right? Mark the box that you did it. It makes sense. It's easy to think about what that would be. It's pretty straightforward. And it applies to us all in kind of similar ways. Like we all can wrap our brains around that. But the inner work is harder to do that with. It's softer. It's more ethereal. It's harder to quantify. It's harder to articulate at times. And it can look different for every person, depending on your conditioning and your traumas and your beliefs and the experiences that you've had. And so it's harder to teach and it's harder to work through because we aren't totally sure what's going to help loosen up your particular flavor of conditioning and traumas and inner work and all limiting beliefs and all that. So we kind of have to feel our way through it. And also, since we aren't particularly comfortable with our emotions and we're not really aware of our nervous system, and we're usually better at mindsets and thinking, like it's very cognitive, and that part we're actually decent at, but the mental or the emotional and nervous system stuff we're not as skilled at. And we kind of avoid it. And so we'd rather just like not do that part and we'll just work harder, like more action, more technique, change level. Maybe I need to change levels. Maybe I need to change teachers. Maybe I need to change studios. Maybe I need more lessons. And we work more on the surface, on the outward, and less on the deeper inward change. And it just so happens I'm particularly good at this kind of work. And I'm particularly good at working with an individual and figuring out what is going on for them and what they need to get past it. Okay. But it's my belief and experience that when we do the inner work along with the outer work, this is like the whole premise of what I do here and why I have a job, is that the changes that we want to make, they become more sustainable. They become more permanent. They become an extension of who you are. Okay. I want to say they become easier to do, and eventually they do. In the beginning, it won't feel that way, but it's the inner work is what changes us on the inside so that those actions that we want to take feel more in alignment with who we are. And so in that sense, it does kind of become easier, because when we don't do the inner work, it feels oppositional sometimes. It feels like we're forcing it. It's the faking it till we make it, but we can tell we're sort of working against ourselves for some reason. How can it be that this thing that I want to do in this way that I want to show up, how can it be so hard when it's what I really want? Well, this is why, because often we're not addressing the inner work. And I also want to say, in case your brain goes straight to the place where mine would, where it sounds like that sounds like a lot of work and really deep, and it just sounds like a lot, and I don't know if I'm willing to do it. Well, I want to assure you that what I do as a coach is not the same as a therapist. And in a lot of cases, if you have capital T traumas, and we do have some stuff that we really do need to go excavate and work through with a skilled therapist, I highly recommend you do that. As a coach, my work is not quite that deep. And a lot of you don't need that quite deep of work. We have some conditioning, we have some beliefs, we don't really understand ourselves and our nervous system and all that, but I can help you do that as a coach. But the goal here for me is, it might look and feel like faking it till you make it in the beginning, but my goal is that we do the inner work as we go so that you don't have to keep faking it and you don't have to keep feeling like you're kind of in a tug of war with yourself. Okay. We're going to do that inner work so that we can support you as you go. And it gets better and easier to take those actions that you want to take. So let's share an example. Okay. So this is one I've seen many times. I have had several clients specifically talk about how they don't feel feminine, like, or sensual. Like, I'm just not touchy-feely. I'm just not an emotional person, is how they describe it. First of all limiting beliefs. Okay. Keep them or not, doesn't matter to me. Like, we can keep them, but they'll have a teacher or a coach trying to get them to let loose a little more or get more in touch with their body, like not think so much, right? Like get more comfortable in your movement. And it just is like a struggle for them, because even the coach or teacher will often use the word sexy. And these clients in particular, when they hear that word, it's like a roadblock goes up. It's just like a wall goes up. Nope. feels very unsafe. Okay. They just can't see it. They just can't relate to it. Maybe it's not about safety. It's just like, nope, that's not me. I don't like that. I'm not comfortable with that. It's a little bit triggering. And you're asking me to do something that I'm never going to do. And so now you can see the struggle, right? It's like, if I was brought up conservatively, let's say, or I have beliefs that like, that's not appropriate. Like, that's not an appropriate way to behave. You shouldn't be like sensual in public. Or let's say you grew up in a generation where we just didn't even talk about sensuality or sexuality at all. So it was just not even something we talk about. And it might have been discouraged, like just your own personal sexuality was discouraged. It might have been associated with morality and sin and repentance. It might cause someone to be very disconnected from their body in general, because our bodies are associated with sin, or the natural man, okay, is another religious term. And so we get very disconnected, and one shouldn't maybe act sexy in public. That's a very private thing. And so this is some conditioning that a person can choose to keep or not. I'm not making a judgment on whether you should keep it or not, or if it's good or bad. But what I am trying to show you is that if you have some of this mindset or beliefs, that this kind of subject could get you in trouble. Like, what would my dad think? What would my spouse think? Like, if you have some of that kind of stuff going on in the background, trying to act sexy, act feminine, act sensual, express that in an authentic way is going to be very challenging. Okay. And it might feel like what you're trying to create is in opposition to you. It's in opposition to your beliefs. So you can see how this is a problem. Now, the outer work might look like simply just desensitizing yourself to even touching yourself. Like, if you're uncomfortable with your body, you haven't touched your own body very much, then it might look like, I'm just going to like touch my hand on my thigh and like get comfortable with just like touching myself, or like running my hands down my ribs, like open hands, open fingers, but like, let me just do this enough that I just get used to it. Or if I'm like running my hand around the back of my head and like down my neck, let me just do this enough in a way that I get desensitized to it. That's the mechanics of it. That's the outer work. Or maybe I'm dressing sexier to see what that does for me. Or maybe I'm going to look more flirtatiously at my partner. Have you ever been, this is just kind of an aside, have you ever been in like a coaching session? And I get this coaching a lot, where it's like, just like look at your partner more. And it's like so uncomfortable, right? Like, we're supposed to like look at them. And like in some cases, like if it's a rumba or something, like, are we supposed to look at them like longingly? Because that's like really uncomfortable, right? These are things that like, there's something in us that feels like there's something wrong about this, or we're just not comfortable with it. So most of the time, my clients will struggle to do that outer work because of this belief system being so strong. And in some ways, it feels dangerous to explore that. And you don't really have to do any of it. You can just do the outer work. But it's just going to be hard, right? It's going to be harder. But you can action your way through it, empower it through, and it will get some improvement. But I do want you to understand that's why it might be extra hard for you to change some of these things. And if you chose to address the conditioning, it would help you create what you want. Okay. So here's another example. Let's say that you've been working really hard on getting comfortable with competing and performing. And no matter how many competitions that you do, you never seem to get over the just intense anxiety of it. You remain very anxious, and you're never really enjoying yourself. And you've tried many things. Number one being doing it more. This is the thing most people say to me, is like, well, I've done a lot of competitions to try to get over it. Okay. And that can help a little bit. You do get used to the environment. You get used to the pace. You get used to like what to expect and who's going to be there and what results mean. And you do get used to a lot. But if you're still having kind of an intense anxiety and you're still not getting over it, then we have to question, is there some inner work that we are neglecting here? And again, we don't have to go super deep excavating, but if we were to dig a little bit, would you find that you had people in your life that were very difficult to please? Did you feel in constant judgment from them, that nothing you did was ever good enough, and that we were constantly having to earn their approval and not getting it? This doesn't even have to be especially traumatizing. It can just be subconscious, that we believe we have to earn approval, or we're not going to be good enough. We're not going to be accepted. And on some level, we believe we'll never get it. So that's a very stressful thing. I'm going to go out here and I'm going to work and I'm going to try to prove something that I'm probably never going to get. And that's going to create a lot of anxiety. Okay. And because we're not addressing like this fear of judgment, or we're not addressing that I need to earn approval, we might have perfectionism. We have a harsh inner critic. We're making it difficult to overcome the anxiety because we're not addressing that potentially. We might need to do some work around accepting ourselves unconditionally, even when we don't do well, even when our coach or our teacher is disappointed in us. Okay. We might need to just do some work around self-compassion, that you're not perfect. You're not a robot. We have to do some compassion and acceptance around that you're an emotional human being and that you have emotions and that you feel things and that that's okay. We have to maybe do some work around being okay that people judge us wrongly, even, and that people might be wrong about us, and people can be walking around out in the world having a misjudgment of us, being wrong, and like being okay with that, being at peace with that, not being triggered by it. This is nervous system work. This is emotional work. This is relationship with self work. And again, I don't want you to get overwhelmed by this because it doesn't have to be deep and long, but just even the awareness of it can help us break free from it a little bit more. So let's talk about what this inner work might look like when it's folded into the outer work, because they inform each other, they influence each other, and they're both necessary, in my opinion. Okay. So in practicality, it's going to look like you start to do the outer work. Like you start to do, like if it's around the sensuality, we start to do just more touching of our own skin. We start experimenting with the way our body moves and whatnot. And we're doing the fake it till you make it kind of thing. And you're going to hit a spot where it gets uncomfortable. Okay. And so something's gonna come up. So the beauty of the outer work is because you're challenging yourself, because you're pushing on your comfort zone, that's what's going to prompt the inner work to come up. You can call it resistance. You can call it anxiety. You can call it discomfort. It just might feel difficult. Doesn't feel like me. You can say I'm being triggered, whatever the way you describe it. This is your moment to see what that action is bringing up. Okay. Now, in the moment, you're in a lesson, you're in a coaching, you're in a performance. We're not all going to like hit the pause button. Like I'm imagining like in a movie, like you hit pause, like everything freezes so that we can just like do our inner work for a minute. We're not going to really have that opportunity. So when the stuff comes up for you in the moment, we're going to kind of in our mind just hit a record button, and we're just going to like subconsciously kind of collect data. What am I experiencing? We're going to make a mental note. What am I experiencing? What am I feeling? What am I thinking? What's my nervous system doing? We're just collecting it. Don't overthink it. Just pay attention. We'll address it later. Okay. But then you're going to keep moving forward. You're going to soothe yourself in the moment if you need to. But in the moment, it might sound like, oh, wow, something's really coming up for me. For me, I know because I have a strong emotional reaction. And when I have a strong emotional reaction, then I know it means it's time to pay attention. Okay. And so in my mind, I might be like, oh, whoa, like something's going on for me. Like, what's that about? And then I just start really paying attention to what I'm thinking and feeling and experiencing. Okay. Like, oh, wow, this feels really wrong. Like, I feel like I'm going to get in trouble. Like, I had the thought, like, what if my dad saw this? Like, oh, that's interesting. I don't have to do anything about it now. I'm just collecting it. Oh my gosh, what would my husband think of this? Or what will your family think? Like what comes up? Is it about what other people see or believe or think? And it might not be that for you. It might be something else. It might be like, oh no, good girls don't do that. But just notice as you're taking the action. It might be a different, and maybe it's not about sensuality. That's just one example, right? But maybe it's about something coming up and like your insecurities all come up. Oh, I don't think I'm good enough, right? Like, what is it? And then you're going to soothe yourself just a little bit. Oh, this is like, I'm comfortable because it's new, but we're going to proceed. If you need to take a break, but we're going to keep trying to work through it, understanding that it's probably uncomfortable, and that's good because it's bringing up our stuff. So I'm going to let the thoughts come up. I'm going to let the resistance come up. I don't have to do anything about it. And then I'm going to revisit it. So later, when I'm revisiting it, I'm like, oh man, I was feeling so uncomfortable. It's like, what was it? What was it? And I'm like, oh man, it was like shame. I was feeling shame. I was a little bit embarrassed, but yeah, shame. Okay, well, that's emotional work, right? So like, what does shame mean? Like, oh, shame means I'm doing something wrong with me. Oh, okay. Like, and then we just start sorting through what came up. What were the thoughts that came up? Oh, like I was thinking like good girls don't touch their bodies. That's interesting. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, I have to touch my body at some point. I mean, I'm a 45-year-old woman. I've had 4 babies. Like, I got to know my body pretty well, right? Like, oh, you know what else came up is like, oh, that's you shouldn't behave that way in public. I'm like, oh, do I believe that? Like, I question it. I play with it. I'm going to give you some more examples or ideas in a moment, but we look at it later. What's the inner work I need to do? What are the thoughts and beliefs? What's the emotional work? What's potentially the nervous system work? It might be all of those. It might be one of those, but what is it? Okay. And this is where I come in to play because I can help you do this work. But identify what's going on. Now, if it's something that we're kind of thinking, if it's something about our beliefs, if it's thoughts, like question them, question the thoughts, question the beliefs. We keep so many beliefs for a very long time that go unchallenged, that might not be serving you anymore. So we just want to question them, play with them a little bit. Is this an outdated belief system? Is this something that I don't really ascribe to anymore? Like, it can be totally subconscious that as soon as you see it, you go, oh my gosh, I don't believe that anymore at all. But it was running subconsciously like a computer program that you forgot to delete. Okay. Is this just a holdover from a previous belief system? Is this from like when I was a kid? Like, that I just like, because obviously, like, I don't believe that anymore as an adult. Like, the rules are different for me as an adult than they were as a kid. Like, I don't need to worry about what my dad thinks about me anymore. Right. Like, is it from a previous relationship, a previous teacher that handled you in a certain way, that like led you to believe some things that actually you don't want to believe anymore? You're grown up now and you get to believe whatever you want. Anything you want. Everything's up for grabs. And maybe you even believe something up until just this very moment, but now that you see it, you don't want to believe that anymore. Okay. So that's what it can look like with thoughts and beliefs, is just question them, play with them, kind of see where it comes from, and then decide, what do I want to believe? Now, if it's a nervous system thing, then I might feel unsafe. Like, I might feel like something bad's going to happen. Like, I'm kind of in danger. I feel kind of threatened. Then my nervous system's lit up. Okay. Then I'm kind of in fight or flight. That's interesting. I wonder why, because I'm just, in a dance studio. Like, why would I feel like I got to run from a bear? Okay. Are we believing we're going to get in trouble? Are we believing this often comes from judgment? Like, are we going to be judged? Are we going to be rejected? Okay. Is something bad going to happen? Why does it feel dangerous to you? In the case of nervous system stuff, when you feel unsafe for whatever reason, we feel like we're in danger, we need to spend a little bit of time to validate it. It makes sense for some reason. What is it? Like, and don't judge yourself for it, because as soon as we judge ourselves for any of this, whether it's thoughts or emotions or nervous system stuff, when we start to judge it, it's going to go back into hiding. So don't judge it. We want it all to come up out of the dark so that we can examine it. Okay. So if it's a nervous system thing and we're feeling threatened for some reason, that probably makes sense. How does it make sense? Explain it. Make it make sense. It's understandable for some reason, but it's just not what we're going to keep doing anymore. Just because it's understandable doesn't mean it needs to persist. We're often misinformed in this case because we're not unsafe usually. But what do we need to do to soothe ourselves? So with nervous system stuff, we got to establish safety. We got to show ourselves that we're safe. We got to do some somatic work, body work, to soothe ourselves as we go. And that's a topic for another day. But one rule of thumb is just to ask yourself, what do you need? And if you're like most people, you've totally ignored this. Like, you've had needs that you've tried to express to yourself and you ignored them and shoved them down. So you kind of stopped offering it up. So ask yourself, what is it that I need? What do I need to soothe myself right now? And then be patient, because it might take a minute to figure out what it is, but then do it. Okay. Actually listen to yourself. Trust yourself. You know what you need. Okay. And at the very least, we can be we're okay. Like, I got us. We're okay. We're going to get through this. Like, we're good. We're good. There's so much power in we're going to be just fine. We're going to be okay. And then emotional stuff comes down to like what we're feeling, understanding what emotions are messages. And what's the message that our body and our brain is trying to send to us? And are we willing to listen to it? Okay. And being compassionate with our emotions, accepting them. Let's go back to the sensuality example and how you would do some of this inner work around sensuality and like body comfortability. Okay. We might reframe this by doing some work around your own sensuality and what that even means. So as we question it, we go, well, what does sensuality even mean? And like maybe the word sexy is no good and it's just not even going to work for me. So I'm just going to throw that out. And what do I want sensuality to mean? How can I make this work for me? What are the belief systems that I hold that aren't serving me? Like, oh, I think sensuality is about sexuality. It's about what other people want. And it's about attraction. And it's about like maybe I'm supposed to control other people's thoughts and emotions and their level of attraction by controlling my modesty, or like the way that I move affects people. Like there's some beliefs in there that just are nonsense now. And maybe I want to reframe this as, what if sensuality is about being one with my body? Like we're so disconnected from our body in Western society. What if sensuality isn't about sexuality at all? It's not about attracting the gaze of another. What if it's not about temptation, or it's not about controlling the thoughts of another person or how I affected them? What if sensuality is about my own comfort with my own body? What if sensuality and even sexuality is for me? It's not for others. It's actually not external. It's a part of my wholeness and a part of my oneness, and my mind and my body and my soul being one. And sensuality is an expression of my connection to my body as a whole, complete self. It's about being comfortable in my own skin and simply feeling free with my authentic self. What if it has more to do simply with my ability to feel? Like play with it, question it, roll it around. And if I'm shifting my belief in this way, I'm going to explore movement differently, because it's not focused on others or attraction or being sexy, which feels all external and superficial and doesn't interest me at all. But if it's about my relationship with myself, I do want to improve my relationship with myself. I do want to love myself and my body more. I do want to be comfortable in my own skin and more authentic and free. And so now when I'm doing this outer work of like, am I handling my body differently? Am I dressing differently? Am I moving differently? It's going to have a different intention. And the outcome is going to come from that internal thing. It's going to come from the inside out. And it's still going to be challenging because there's still parts of me that are going to light up from that old belief system, but I can more readily move past it and focus on, no, this is not about other people and attraction and sexuality, whatever. This is about me and my body and my authenticity. And so that's going to help me move forward from a more grounded place and something that I'm encouraged and excited to do, not something that feels like it's in opposition to me. So the outer work and the inner work can help each other. As I do good inner work, it's going to help improve that outer work, and I'm going to get more out of it. And then as I do that outer work and I take those actions, it's going to bring up the stuff that I have an opportunity to work through. And as I'm like showing up in the world in a different way, it's going to inform my subconscious that, oh, those old beliefs that we've been holding, they're not consistent with who we're becoming. So we can drop those more. And there is going to be a transition period. It's not going to be like a switch flips. But these two things inform each other. And as I'm saying this, it's like, it feels like a circular thing, but it's moving forward. It's expansive. It's evolutionary. It's like I'm evolving, I'm growing and changing as I push my limits. And they both inform each other. Does that make sense? Whereas when I'm just focusing on outer work and I'm doing less inner work, it feels a little more forced, or it feels a little more stagnant, or it feels a little more like a tug of war And we might make some strides moving forward, but it doesn't feel expansive. It feels sort of contracted. It feels resistant, right? So notice, because you might experience more frustration, more resistance if we're doing the tug of war thing. So kind of in summary, it's like you start to take the action. Your inner work's going to come up. Something's going to come up. Pay attention, collect the data, make a mental note. Later, come back to it. Figure out what the inner work is. Is it mental? Is it emotional? Is it nervous system stuff? Is there some stuff we got to validate? Is there some beliefs we got to drop? Does it, like, what do I want to intentionally believe and do and be? Decide on purpose. And then keep taking that action and be prepared that when the resistance comes up, we already know what that's about. We can more readily move past it. Hopefully we've done some work and reframed it. We're transitioning forward, and we just keep doing that. We got to soothe ourselves. We got to slow down. We got to take a break. Do I got to do some like EFT, some tapping? Like, what are the tools you need? You need a session with me to help you figure out what that is. Remind ourselves what we believe. Ask yourself what you actually need right now and listen to it. Develop some self-trust. Get your own back. Okay, do you see how this works? All right, that's what I have for you today, but I will see you next week in the podcast. But until then, I'll see you next time. All right, love you guys. Bye.